redefining the Igbo concept of Okeite and the dangers associated with its installation. Now, this topic I'm about to treat now, it aims at explaining the concept of Okeite, which is this world manifestation mechanisms, how it is configured, and the dangers that are associated with its configuration. And the knowledge I'll be sharing here is based on the series of interviews and conversations that I've previously conducted with different Akajofo of different deities in my community, a Dibia and also a Dibianri, whose special function is Ekwaro. Now, I made a compilation of the knowledge I gained from them and I decided to share it. But before I continue, one of the things that gave me a resolution that this practice of Okeite is a very dangerous one. It stems from an experience I had with a friend who, because of some sort of a financial issue, has decided to engage in the practice of, instituting Okeite. But before he ventured and went on with his plan, he understood what Omenani and Odenani is. So he went through the Igbo divination process in the Wafa. So when we got there, the Dibia asked if I should step out, but he said there is no big deal, that he has nothing to hide. So he allowed me to listen to the divination. Now, as the Dibia was, consulting his deities, and he stopped and looked at my friend and he said, "Are you planning to institute Okipe?" The man, my friend looked at him and said, "Yes, I've already prepared the money. I just want to, like, after this divination, I would go and start the process." The Dibia said no. He shook his head and said no, that he's also no. He's a deity that basically likes him, is against him going on with this idea of Okite. The guy was like, what do you mean? That it is a normal thing that many people are doing and it's helping them in their businesses and in their finances. Why is his own different? The man looked at him and consulted his divination tools and positioned the same question that my friend asked. The deity cautioned the Dibia and my friend, cautioned the Dibia, and the Dibia related the information to my friend. And the deity said that what we don't know is bigger than us, and that we engaging in some of these things, we are dampening and weakening our soul. So the Dibia said, okay, if he's not going to go on with this plan of okay, what is he supposed to do? The deity said that he needs to be patient, that something is coming in his way. It could be in the next 10 years, it could be in the next 5 years, but he needs to be patient. Now, after all said and done, me and my friend met, and later on I asked him, "Did you do this Okipe?" And he said, "He's not stupid." So that basically concluded it for me. For me, I laughed. But even if he went on to institute this Okipe, I would have still, just, shook my head. And, people can be stubborn. Human beings should always do what they want to do, irrespective of if what they want to do is detrimental to their well-being. So, what is Okite? Okite is an aspect of Igbo alchemical configuration, Ogwu, whose direct function is to manifest, attract, and distribute wealth for individuals who participate in the commissioning of this configuration. Now, as an alchemical configuration, Okite is a mixture of herbs, roots, animals or human parts, alcohol, and a series of other condiments whose metaphysical components can be used for the purpose of wealth attraction. Okeite falls under the aspect of Ogwu Igbo refers to as Ajo Ogwu or Ogwu Ike. Therefore, Ogwu under this category is known to function outside the desired natural process, which the Igbo spiritual and cosmological system ordinarily is known for. Therefore, the activities of Okeite and its installation deviate from the dictates of an individual's chi mezu mezu. This means there isn't any individual who is predestined to engage in Okeite activities at any point of his or her life. This makes those that engage in Okeite to be in direct contrast with the mandates of their ancestral and their familial forces. Therefore, this very reality, the configuration and institution of Okeite by any individual can never be seen during the Igbo divination process or Iwafa, except through the sentiments of a Dibia who already uses this installation as a source of income. Now, Okeite, well, it is a kind of Ogwu. And how do they institute it? The Dibia knows items that they can use to be able to command or to get a certain result. So what they do is that they mix 2, 3, 4 of those condiments because of their metaphysical properties. And those condiments would now perform a certain action or a certain command. Now, they would not generally say that Ogwu is not an Igbo characteristics, because the herbs that we take when we are sick is a form of Ogwu. And other aspects of Ogwu that we use to improve our standard of living. Now, things like Ajo, like Ogwu Dika and say poisonous, configurations, or Okeite, which falls under the aspect of Ogwu Ike, are things that our culture and spirituality abhors. It is not a tenet within our spiritual practices to institute or configure Ajo or Ogwu Ike. It is not, because they are antithesis to the natural process of doing things. Our spirituality exalts life. Everything that we do within our spirituality has a singular purpose, which is to improve our standard of living. Now, Ajo is a direct contrast to what Ogwu does, because it's either it is moving outside of a natural principle, or it is negative and manipulative. So this is generally why our ancestors avoid anything relating to Ajo or Ogwu Ike. Now, what are the consequences of Okeite? Now, naturally, Ogwu is classified, these kinds of Ogwu is classified as an artificial intelligence, because its configuration or institution functions artificially, away from the natural process which manifests as nature has predestined it, thereby functioning based on different sets of commands, and it has its tendencies to grow its own consciousness, thereby functioning outside of a stipulated command. Now, you cannot command nature. This is why when I see people go to Okualose to go and ask for something, and instead of being contrite and humble, you see them issuing commands. Or when somebody goes to Ndiche, ancestors, or Awu, to make some sessions, we see them issuing commands. But you cannot command these spiritual forces, because it's just like you're commanding an elderly person or your father. But if you're instituting Ogwu, you're giving it a strict command. But the more you sacrifice or offer something to this Ogwu, it has its own tendencies of growing its own consciousness, which means that this Ogwu can begin to function outside of those stipulated commands that you have issued or given to it. Which means an Ogwu that you said you're going to be giving a chicken would on its own begin to take goats and cows and dogs. And before you know it, it will start to take human lives. So you see that you that instituted this thing no longer have a control over it. It now controls you. Because it would keep demanding and demanding until you destroy it and render it ineffective. Now, Ogwu and other aspects of Ogwu that fall under these negative and forceful manifestations of reality, they are dangerously volatile, with little or no cosmic restrictions or fonog that tethers it to an individual's cosmic root. Now, when when they function as an organism, as a group. Now, when you anger your chi or some forces within your natural roots, they will not inflict you with things that you cannot recover from. If your chi is angry, or let me say a deity, is angry at you, your chi can hold this anger and keep this deity at bay while it tries to communicate to you through dreams or symbols or signs that communicate with you what is happening, encouraging you to go and make peace and fix a problem that you've caused. Now, because Ogwu is volatile and is not, held together by any concept or any force that can form Ogwu. Ogwu is not tethered, Okeite or Ogwu is not tethered to your cosmic roots. Therefore, it can do and undo. Now, because it's growing its consciousness and manifesting its ways it was not conditioned to perform or to function, it can now take sacrifices or things that it is not supposed to take. And this is when Okeite begins to manifest as what we call Amosu. Now, it indirectly becomes responsible for the death and misfortunes within an individual's immediate or extended family. Now, this person that has this Okeite might be living a good life, but every other person around him or her will be encountering these kinds of misfortunes and problems. And this is because he is the architect of it. But Okeite is going to shroud this person from noticing what is going on in the life of other people around him. So this is what happens here. Now, this growth of consciousness comes as a result of the constant sacrificing which an individual engages in. And by channeling this life force consistently, Okeite takes on such life force and manifests itself to be self-serving, and without it being grounded under any evil cosmic natural principle. It takes its own consciousness and it becomes independent of your wills and your command. Now, what makes any ILC effective depends on the amount of sacrifice that we offer to it. Now, translate this to a configuration that is as dangerous as Okeite. And now imagine the havoc it is going to reach. Now, know that 90% of these Okeite that they prefer, 90% of them are fake. But I'm talking about the real Okeite, because what most of these priests do is that they bring a pot and do some kind of the more you see, the more you look, the less you see. And they give it to you. In your mind, I prepared Okeite. Now, when you now go back home, after like a couple of months, it is not working. You come back and you ask the Dibia, see, this thing that you did is not working. And then they will start giving you excuses upon excuses. They would even try to rip you off by asking you to bring money so that they will use that money to sharpen and energize it or to fix a problem. They would even tell you, oh, did you speak to a woman when you were going after we performed the ritual? Did you do that? Did you do this? And you will say that, hey, yeah, this is the reason why it did not work. But in reality, it was never instituted or configured to work. Now, as a result of this unnatural configuration and a stray from an individual's cosmic path, nature would demand restitution in order to enact a cosmic balance that would be tied towards realigning an individual or an attempt to right what or who has been wronged. Therefore, the repercussions can range from barrenness, child or gender mortality, promiscuity, and recalcitrant behaviors on the part of the children. And this is because nature wants to use this as an opportunity to correct this flaw in this life or in the next. Because our soul is eternal, and this means that every accumulated karma, whether good or bad, would be justified and manifested as long as the soul reincarnates. So if we don't meet the repercussion of engaging in Okeite in this reincarnation, be ready for it in the next reincarnation. Now, in this series of conversations I've had on this subject, I've said it before, it's with people like Dibia, whose specialty is the cleansing of abomination. Now, it made me realize that Okeite installations are cosmic thorns that would need to be cleansed now or in the next reincarnation. Now, according to him, he said that people who engage in Okeite are cosmically injecting themselves with thorns, and they will eventually need the services of Dibia or Dibia to cleanse and to remove these thorns from them. Now, one strange is that he said it in Igbo. He said, when I asked, Okeite, he said, that was his exact word. Now, the same information or result was shared by other Dibias or Akajo that I talked to on the subject matter. They asserted that Okeite is a modern-day trap being laid for young men and women, which they will come to regret in their older years. They also asserted that the hype surrounding the installation of Okeite as part of the Igbo spiritual system is ludicrous, as Okeite and a series of other Ogwu installations and configurations were avoided by our ancestors. Our ancestors distanced themselves from Okeite and also from people who engaged in it. They also cited the lack of fear amongst young people and cautioned against them involving in themselves in things their ancestors ran away from. And instead, they encouraged young people to return to the authentic practices and philosophies that guided our ancestral way of life as a way to reach our cosmic destination, which is not bothered about our human conditions, but rather concerned with the elevation of our consciousness. And this is what I think many people do not understand and what they have issues with. Now, most of the sacrifices that we perform are not necessarily tied to some kind of financial provisions. It's targeted at the elevation of our consciousness because we are here to learn. This is why the Igbo proverb of Owa Abuahia exists. We are here to grow our consciousness by learning. And we're not here to, worry about and, let material things to drive us and drive our resolve, making us to engage in things like Okeite. Because cosmically, these things are seen as, what is the word? It is being seen as unimportant and does not attribute anything cosmically to the elevation of the consciousness. Rather, it draws you back from getting to that point which you are supposed to get. Because by engaging in Okeite, you are creating a hole that needs to be filled before your consciousness can be elevated. And this is one of the reasons our ancestors discouraged the institution of Okeite and Okeite-related mechanisms for wealth attraction or wealth manifestation. So if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and engage in the conversation that is going on via the comment section. And until next time, yeah guys, yeah.